Well, I think a lot of the problems that the European heads of state and government face are really difficult. They're difficult in distributive terms because they involve moving money from one country to the next. They're also difficult in normative terms. I mean, let's face it, there were all these rules and these principles that were set down, and the rules were not always followed and the principles were not always obeyed. And as a consequence, there's a lot of discontent at the European level with the way some countries have performed. And in that context, it's very difficult to come to make decisions, and what they end up doing is only what is necessary in order to survive one particular moment of the crisis, and it's time now for them to figure out a way to put this crisis to rest. Europe is about rules, much more than it is about making decisions together. I mean, over time we can make decisions about what the rules should be, but what Europe does best is simply institute a set of rules and then try to abide by them at the national level. Unfortunately, in this crisis, what we've discovered is a big gap in our understanding of how Europe works. That means that a lot of the rules don't apply as effectively as we would like them to, particularly those rules that have to do with macroeconomic governance. So we're having to do a lot of changes much more quickly than Europeans are able to manage. We need to figure out some way to channel the flight to quality in European financial markets. Now that's something that we haven't tackled yet. Right now the flight to quality works across countries. Imagine, when people get afraid in Italy, they move their money to Germany. No financial space can survive that kind of pressure. Then I think we can help to keep some of that fear contained, but there'll always be fear in the market, and so we need to figure out somewhere to put that fear should it arise. And the most recent Barroso proposal does include the idea of Euro bills, which are short-term notes that would be issued and jointly underwritten at the European level that could be used to help bail out countries from their irresponsible borrowing in some kind of a debt redemption fund, or to provide emergency liquidity. I don't think that's going to be adequate because it doesn't address the fundamental problem, which is where do we put fear in the market and how do we stop the flight to quality from moving from one country to the next. The Euro bill proposal doesn't provide a receptacle for that fear, and so there'll always be the danger that money would flee from Italy, for example, into Germany, or Spain into Germany, and so leave the Italian or the Spanish economy without the liquidity necessary in order to do business. This is why I've been promoting a Eurobond proposal at the European level. Well, the idea of a Eurobond is that we take only the responsible borrowing of governments and issue that borrowing in commonly underwritten paper, so all governments would sustain to support the bonds that are issued as Eurobonds. And then we can use those bonds for all the routine banking transactions that financial institutions in every country need to do. They can be used as collateral, they can be used to get access to liquidity from the banking community or from the national central bank. And in that sense, what we'll do is break the link between national banking systems and national governments. That link so far has not been broken.